Have you ever found yourself stuck on a coding problem that seems silly but just won't go away? If that's you, then you're in the right place. Today, we're tackling how to uncheck radio buttons in React when selecting a new option. I totally get it. It can be frustrating when you think you should know how to do something, but it just doesn't click. You're not alone in this. Many developers face similar challenges. Here's the specific situation we're looking at. One user recently asked, "How can I uncheck all radio buttons in React when I click on a new one?" This is a common scenario when dealing with forms. Sound familiar? Let's dive into it together. So, what's the issue here? In React, radio buttons are typically controlled components, meaning their checked state is managed by the component's state. When you want to uncheck all other buttons upon selecting a new one, you need to manage that state effectively. And stick around, I have a handy tip at the end that will make managing forms in React even easier. To uncheck all radio buttons when a new one is selected, the user should first manage the state of the selected radio button using React's state management. This can be done by using the useState hook. Next, the user should update the state when a radio button is clicked. This will ensure that only the selected radio button is checked and all others are unchecked. Now, the user needs to modify the radio button rendering logic. Each radio button should reflect the current state, checking if it matches the selected option. Finally, the user can test the implementation. When they click on a radio button, it should uncheck any previously selected buttons and check the new one. Fun fact, did you know that radio buttons were first introduced in the 1960s? They were designed to allow users to select one option from a set, and they've come a long way since then. Now, let's look at the answers provided by other users. An alternative approach shared by another user involves using the checked property in a stateless component. They suggest mapping through your data to create radio buttons and using the default checked prop to manage which radio button is selected. That's all for that response. Let's see what someone else had to say. An alternative approach shared by a user involves checking if a radio button was clicked using eTargetChecked. They suggest comparing this with the previous state of the radio button to manage its checked status. In the event handler, if the radio button is checked and was previously unchecked, set the state to true. If it was already checked, set the state to false. Don't forget to initialize the radio button state to false in component didMount or the constructor. Here's the pro tip I promised. Always remember to manage your component state effectively. It can save you a lot of headaches down the road. And there you have it. You should now be able to uncheck radio buttons in React with ease. If you found this helpful, hit that subscribe button for more tips. And don't miss our bonus tip on enhancing your React forms.